Good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir. I'm Dr. Inchira from, I'm Assistant Professor from the Department of Ophthalmology. Respected dignitaries and audience here, today I take the great chance to introduce the unique medical personality, Dr. S.P. Yoganna. By his name itself, he is a blessed yogic personality. He was born on 8th of May 1955 in Saligrama, Kyarnagra Taluk of Mysore, of blessed parents, late Srimati Lakshmamma and Sri Puttegowda, from an agricultural family. He had his primary education in Saligrama with 30th rank in SSLC and 3rd rank in MBBS in 1977 from Mysore Medical College. In the first attempt itself, he had MD Medicine and completed the education in the year 1981. In 1982, he was awarded FICA and 83 SCCP from USA. He has served in many different academic posts and professional posts, like he worked as professor in medicine at MMC, visiting professor in government yoga and naturopathy university Mysore, worked as general physician Care Hospital Mysore, consultant general physician and cardiologist at Arogya Yoga Medical Center Mysore. He also had involved himself in hobbies like development of medical science in Canada, agriculture, fisheries, and had actively involved himself in social and political activities. He has number of books published which are useful for public health, like ಬ್ಯಾಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಬಿಟ್ಸ್, ದುಷ್ಟ ಚಟಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಪರಿಣಾಮಗಳು, ಪ್ರಧಾನ ರೋಗಗಳು, ಹೃದಯಾಘಾತ, ಆಸ್ತಮಾ, ಸಮಗ್ರ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ದರ್ಶನ, ನಾನ್ಯಾರು, ಅಭ್ಯಾಸಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಆರೋಗ್ಯ, and many others. There are a list of books which are in line for the publication, like Kannada Vaidya Vignana, Kannada Vaidyakiya Nigantu, Cancer, Sakkare Kaile, and Manual of Diagnostic Medicine. He also has involved in many literary works and conducted many workshops. Like he was an organizing secretary in Akhila Bharata Prathama Kannada Vaidyakiya Sahitya Sammelana in 1993, presented the documentary on medical literature in Akhila Bharata 60th Kannada Sahitya Sammelana, Honorable Chief Editor Medical Science, Vishwa Kosha, Mysuru Vishwa Vidyanilaya, Divisional Editor of Vaidya Vishwa Kosha, Hampi Kannada Vishwa Vidyanilaya, and Editor of IMA Focus from 2003 to 2004. He has also bagged many dignitary awards like Dr. B.C. Roy Award, R.L. Narsimhaya Science Award, Honor from IMA State Branch, Honor from Mysuru Sahitya Parishat. They're actually 11 in number, but I've told only 4. And he's also been involved with many committees, like President for Mysore IMA Branch 1997-1999, Secretary for Mysore IMA Branch from 2002 to 3, Vice President for Mysore IMA Branch from 1999 to 2000. He was also a member for AIP Board from 2000 to 2010. He's also been in touch with public news field by being editor for Arogya Yoga and Kannada Daily published on Arogya Masika, editor for Kannada Weekly published on Halavaru Arogya Lekhana, speaker in Akashvani about health. He's also been associated with educational institutions as President for Kyarnagar Taluk Students Association, President for District Education and Cultural Committee, President for Karnataka Jnanodaya Parishat Mysuru, President for Kuvempu Higher Education Development Board Mysuru, Licensing Officer for MMCRI, president for Mysore Medical College Alumni Association. He was also actively involved in politics from 1999 to 2008, participated in Kiar Nagar Taluk and also competed for assembly election. And currently he's retired from politics, but he is a founder of following organizations like founder, President Suyog Hospital, Mysore, President Suyog Nursing College and Suyog Institute of Allied Medical Sciences, Mysore, President Arogya Yoga Center, Mysore, Honorary President Suyog Diabetic Health Club, Suyog Educational Organizations. So, by this, I remember a famous proverb in Kannada, Adu Muttada Soppilla. Sir, it's been an immense pleasure and privilege for me to introduce you, and I thank my organizers to giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Now, I request our eminent speaker, Dr. S.P. Yoganna, to speak on the topic reading habits among the youth. Sir, over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Principal Dr. Prabhakar and Dr. Prakash.
Sir, please, nimdu camera on ಮಾಡಿ sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. Sri Devaraj's Academy of Higher Education and Research Organization, the principal Dr. Prabhakar and Dr. Prakash and Dr. Inchara and all the faculty members of the Devaraj's Academy of Higher Education and Research Center and Mysore and Medical College, and my dear listeners. It gives me an immense pleasure to be associated with one of the renowned medical college established by a great social scientist, Dr. Jalappa, on whom I have got highest regard for his socio-economic educational contribution. I am very much privileged to be associated with this institution today. And today, I thank at the outset the principal and Prakash for giving me an opportunity to share my few thoughts on this day of the International Book Day celebration. My friends, Dr. Prakash has already told the theme of this International Book Day celebration. I am going to touch upon certain important the socio-scientific aspect of the book industry and the physiology of the reading, because I know the listeners will be all my friends, my colleagues, and the medical students. Unless you understand the physiology of reading, physiology of memory, physiology of the registration of the thoughts which have come from outside, and I will try to correlate the reading. As our Professor Prabhakar said, now there is a challenge the book industry is facing against the social media. So therefore, we need to cut an edge as to the merits and demerits of the book reading and the digital reading. So with this background, I would like to start and a brief introduction of the World Book Day. As you all know, the World Book Day is celebrated on 23rd of April in each year from 1965, first started in England and Ireland. You know, this is a worldwide international program organized by UNESCO to promote the pleasure of reading the books. And Why only on 23rd April, as Dr. Prakash said, this is an auspicious day on which the great laureates, William Shakespeare, William Wordsworth, and many others died. And also, the so many stalwarts, laureate poets and writers were also born on this day. So therefore, this 23rd April has been selected as the World Book Day and being organized directly by the UNO under UNESCO. Now, in this World Book Day, what is the purpose of this? The purpose of this is to understand the importance of reading the book, the importance of publishing the book, the importance of selling the book, the importance of storing the book, and the challenges which we are going to face now and often in future, and how to tackle these challenges and also prepare ourselves for any future challenges and think of the developing this book culture among the community at large globally. This is the main theme of this World Book Day being celebrated. So this World Book Day, now today, this year, the UNESCO gives a slogan every year and selects a capital in a country, and from that it spreads the message to all over the world. So this year theme is be a reader, enjoy reading. That too among youngsters. Why the youngsters have been chosen, I believe, because nowadays today's youngsters are more they are more adjusted, they are more akin to the digital media rather than the print media, the book paper media. So probably that is the reason why the UNESCO has given this slogan to make them understand how the book reading, paper reading is will be more efficient in dealing with the digital reading and in comparison with the digital reading. See, why should we read? After all, why should we read is $1 million question. See, his human body, the purpose of human body, as you all know, is to be happy. See, we do everything to get happiness. We don't know anything which does not give us happiness. So there are basically, if you at large, if you look at this human being, the modes of happiness, the ways, the methods of pleasure which an individual gets from different aspects, normal pleasure, the God-given pleasures are really four types. The first is knowledge happiness, that is Gnana Sukha. An individual, when he acquires a knowledge, then he feels very happy. That is knowledge happiness. The second happiness is the wealth happiness. If you acquire wealth, it may be physical wealth, whatever it may be. If you acquire wealth, then also a man becomes happy. The third one is procreation. The purpose of this life is be born, be happy, procreate, and die. This is the creator intention of creating this human being. So procreation, that means santana sukha. So if you get your children, then bring them up. So you see that your generation being continued. This also gives you a happiness. The next is the power happiness. The power means it is the pleasure you get by making others to hear you. So this is maybe depending upon the different varieties of power. It may be in your house, if your children, if your wife, if he hears to you, then you feel happy. Like that, it can be taken to any level of power, including so many political powers. So this is about the happiness. See, if you see all the types of happiness, among all these four happiness, power happiness can be misused. There is no end. So if you start acquiring happiness, go on increasing your happiness by power, then there is a chances of harassing others, and there is a tragic situation, and it cannot be a power of eternal power, eternal peace or happiness you will not get. Wealth, there is no limit. If you acquire wealth, there is no limit, one after the other, quantity wise. So small quantity, large quantity, like that. There is no end to this. And the chances of harassing and causing unhappiness among others is also there. Then, among all this happiness, knowledge happiness is the one which which gives you a happiness, and also this happiness you go on acquiring as you go on acquiring without injuring anybody's feeling and without causing any damage to the society or another individual. And if you give away, also you get happiness. So gaining, you will not be causing any harm. You can acquire knowledge of any amount without injuring anybody's feeling, society or anybody. And not only acquiring, when you give away to somebody, then also you feel happy. And the society also, the man who receives the knowledge also. So therefore, my friends, you must cultivate a habit, a culture, wherein we prioritize our happiness from knowledge. The source of knowledge, books are the treasuries of knowledge. Books are the treasuries of knowledge. So therefore, the book culture, the happiness which you get from books, that should that mentality each one of us should imbibe rather than the physical happiness and the wealth happiness and power happiness, of course the procreation, both the mamakara and children, that also it goes away and it takes you to someone. So therefore my take home message is knowledge happiness is supreme, the source of knowledge is power. So my friends, now, this when you want to, the slides is not moving. The, then you must understand what is reading. The reading means is a multifaceted process involving word recognition, registration, comprehension, fluency, and motivation. This is one definition you can get. So in reading, it is multifaceted. Please remember, if you study the anatomy, physiology of the brain, which will come to that later, it is a multifaceted process. It is not just only one. So many integration of the sensual sensations and the parts of the brain will occur, and it involves the word recognition of word, registration of a word, comprehension, that is understanding, and fluency when you have talk, and motivation. And in a broader term, understanding the happenings around the man through special senses. See, the special senses, vision, hearing, tactile, taste, and smell. So, what role in the nature? What you get in the nature? What are all the happenings in the nature? Through the special senses, whatever the information we get, they are processed in the brain and they are stored and recalled. That is also a learning reading. So reading need not be a book. It may be through hearing, it may be vision, it may be a tactile. Is also you see in deaf people how the tactile sensations also will be a process of reading. Even the taste, through the taste, you can recognize many information through us also a smell. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. The neurology of reading. So the neurology, when you read, supposing if you read through your eyes, the occipital cortex. This is processed in the occipital cortex. The first hand information is processed in the occipital cortex. Then the associated cortex, it goes to the parietal lobe, and there it is occipital cortex and the parietal cortex. Whatever you read, that will be processed. If it is a sound, temporal cortex, primary. If it is a tactile, parietal cortex. If it is a smell, olfactory cortex. So therefore, while reading, different source of input, what you get into the brain, will be processed in the primary respective cortex. Then it will be sent to the associated cortex, that is mostly the temporal lobe and the parietal lobe and the frontal lobe. And there, the understanding, then next is the comprehension. See, first understanding, first the understanding the sensation, then under comprehension. That means the understanding what you have read through vision, through sound, through tactile, or through a smell, any special senses. So the understanding, the whole cortex takes a part. So therefore, my friends, the whole cortex takes a part in comprehending, all cortex comprehending. Once it is understood, it will be registered. So registered memory, registration occurs. So this understanding is electrical. As you all know, the whole body acts through electrical signals. So these electrical signals are processed and registered in a chemical process, in a biochemical substance. So the input is electrical and the storage is chemical. So therefore, if it is for a short time, hippocampus takes the part. Hippocampus. If it is for a longer memory, frontal. So therefore, my friends, the frontal lobe plays a very important part in the long-term memory. Now, what type of reading will make you to go for a long-term memory? Because once you read, so you should understand, you should get the input to the respective cortex, then association cortex, the whole thing. So therefore, if there is a multiple mode of input, you will have a better understanding. Because ultimately the entire cortex takes part in understanding, comprehension, either it is come from vision or something. Now, why I am telling this is, I will come to that later, the book reading and the digital reading, which is important. So therefore, in this, what I want to tell you is, the entire cortex takes part in reading, comprehending what you have read, ultimately. And that entire cortex means, so therefore, you have different types of, if the stimulus comes, if the electrical signals comes from different mode, vision mode, tactile mode, sound mode, smell mode. If the input comes from all the modes, the understanding will be better, registration will be better, and the memorizing will be better. All these things, this is what has been proved. So this is the neurology of reading. Then, next slide, please. Then memory. The thing that I have told you. So temporary memory, permanent memory. See, for a memory, first it will be a temporary memory in the hippocampus. Then ultimately, you should go for permanent memory. If you want to make it permanent, repeated reading is necessary. Repeated reading is necessary for a permanent memory. And it has been proved beyond any reasonable doubt by so many studies. If you read loudly, instead of reading with only eyes, if you read through tongue, verbal, you will have a better memory than reading through eyes. This is one most important study they have done and they have confirmed. So therefore, repeated reading verbal. See, when we were students, actually, in our old timers, we used to loudly read the books, and to such an extent that nowadays people say that will cause noise pollution. No, definitely not. So even so, therefore, reading a book loudly may not be very loudly. Verbally, if you read, that will help you in. Then, if you hold a book, turn a page, the smell of the page, the weight of the page, and the configuration of the book, that I will come to that. All will play a permanent role, important role in understanding what you have read and what the registration and comprehension will be better. So the mode of reading is also very important for the brain to process its memory and registration. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next. See, electrobiochemistry of reading. As I already said, the input is electrical signals. So registration is biosubstances, and that is the acetylcholine plays a very important role in registration of the. So therefore, if you want to recall, then it is reverse. The whatever is stored in a biochemical code will be converted into electrical code, and you deliver. The delivery of it may be through writing, it may be through signals, or it may be through expression, or there are so many types of reading. So therefore, in different modes, the expression can happen either in reading or different type of expression, symbols, signs, and different types of movements. So these also, all these components will come under the reading only. So next slide, please. So recalling memory, that I think I have told this. I have told these things. Next, next slide, please. So, what is the use of reading? So, it's a valuable knowledge. As you know, the knowledge an individual gets is only through books, nothing else. So, it is a connection between the past and the present, and of course, the future. So, valuable knowledge can be had only by books. It's an exercise to the brain. See, it has been proved beyond doubt. I will come to that studies later. Reading puts your brain, puts your all part of the cortex. See, all part of the cortex. See, all part of the cortex. You will be put into action by reading. So, exercise to the brain increases the focus ability, the focusing ability of the mind. So mind is so vibrant, Mind is so vibrant. If you don't make it to concentrate, it will be always wandering here and there. And so therefore, the reading makes you to concentrate more. It increases the concentrating ability of the mind. So entertainment. See, when you're reading, see, reading will when you are understanding a thing. That's why when you are understanding a thing, when you are fed up with your other natural work, if you take a book and read, the change of work also an entertainment. So the book reading can also be an entertainment to relieve the stress. Increases the ability of empathy. Empathy means feeling others like you. So the empathy will be increased if you read books. Increases communication skills. See, nowadays, I'm very sorry to state, our youngster doesn't have communication skills. They may be very, very intelligent. If you ask them to perform, communicate the same things to the community or the thing, they are very bad. Probably they are more going to the digital than books, and this may be the reason why they are lacking communication skills. It decreases the stress. See, it is beyond any reasonable doubt when the mind is non-vibrant. See, when you are reading, you are going to concentrate on only page. See, when you are reading, you are only concentrating only on the page, and it is just like a meditative reading, and you are not going to see the things what is happening in and around you, and the stress will be relieved. So it releases the stress, which is a challenge to the modern man. Potentiates mental health. So definitely reading potentiates and it increases the longevity. The lifespan is also increased because reading of the books increases your knowledge. So knowledge means it's the overall knowledge. You understand what is the purpose of life. You understand what is your responsibility, and you understand how to carry on. So therefore, you are going to live a better life if you are with if the books are your friends. Next slide, please. See, pleasure. We do everything for pleasure. We are not going to do anything which does not give you pleasure. So we think that we do everything with the intention of getting pleasure, but because of various things, we end up in sorrow and unhappiness. So intentionally, we will not do anything. So therefore, the purpose of human life, as I said, is to be happy. So when you are happy, when you read a book, when you are happy, any whatever be the reason, when you are happy in our system, endorphins, dopamine, certain levels are going to increase, and these important three biochemical substances are going to potentiate, going to keep our normal biochemical interior always in a state of homeostasis, and always our health will be in a state of in a normal state of homeostasis. So therefore, it has been today we know why these all these non-communicable diseases, diabetes, hypertension, cancer, and ischemic heart attack, they're all rising because of unhappiness and because of reduced these hormones. Is also one of the important factors. Sir, next slide, please. Then book culture. When this book culture came into existence, see, if you go back to the history, Vedas, which are the treasuries of knowledge in the world literature, are first treasuries of knowledge that have been discovered in the globe. So the Veda, which were in oral tradition, were reduced to writing in Talagiri by Vyasa in 400 BC. So this is the first book in a book form, not a book of this variety, but written down literature is the Vedas, and written by Vyasa in 400 BC. Then print media in 14th to 15th century AD, a German founder, Johannes Gutenberg, found out the print media, and that print media, then books started coming in 1415 due to the printing material. Of course, in 20th century, the digital media has taken over, has engulfed almost the book media, which is going to be a greater threat to the book culture, which I am going to explain to you later. So therefore, it is a proud of India that Vedas are the first books written down knowledge by Vyasa in 400 BC. That is the greatest contribution of India to the world of book. Next. Next, sir. Now, this is a very important question. As I said, there's a challenge for the paper book by the digital books. They calls this book by digital reading. So book reading versus digital reading. This has to be understood, and a proper direction, proper process, proper program have to be driven out by the government and the society to prevent the hazards of digital reading in future. See, this human race, we don't know when it has come, but maybe 22 crores years ago, this human race has started. And we say, as we know that the knowledge is about 2,400 years ago, the man started reading. And by then, till now, the human gene and human system, human brain, which is an important component of reading, has genetically adjusted to the process of reading a book and understanding a book. So for that style, the human body and human brain has adjusted. In a 20th century, reading, digital digital process, a digital industry, or whatever you call, has revolutionized the approach to the knowledge and communication. No doubt about it. But recently, so many studies have been done, and these studies using a functional MRI scan, they have extensively studies, 2 to 3 studies have been done extensively around the globe, book reading versus digital reading. It has been documented, proved beyond reasonable doubt. The book reading, because of the fixed letters, so in a digital reading, there will be a movement of, so the movement will affect the registration, comprehension, and conversion of electrical impulses into biochemical impulses. So therefore, a fixed letters, what we read in a book, is congenial, is facilitative for the process of registration, for the process of comprehension of the brain than the digital reading. And page movement, it has been also been observed, the movement of page will also going to register, an image registration will be done in the brain, which is also going to a movement of page, what we do while reading a book, is also going to help you the process of comprehension and registration. And the para-wise classification and the configuration of the book, the smell of the paper and the weight when you hold that book, the tactile sensation will go. Tactile sensation will go. Tactile reading. And when the smell of the characteristic smell of the paper, the olfaction impulses will go. So therefore, the visual will go. So therefore, the multifaceted input to the brain, which is going to potentiate, facilitate the comprehension, the registration of memory will be much more better, because in a reading, the multifaceted impulses will go to the brain rather than in a digital reading. All this increases the ability of the cognitive functions of the brain. The digital reading. In a digital reading, movement of screen decreases the cognitive efficiency of the brain. Movement of the screen decreases the cognitive efficiency of the brain. Constant flickering glow creates more work for eyes and voice. So visual mental fatigue. So constant flickering glow that happens in a digital reading will create the mental fatigue and visual fatigue. It is a faster reading and a superficial reading. So it is the complete conclusion, the digital reading, you are going to run fast, and it is only a superficial reading. You cannot go into the deep understanding. So therefore, it has been concluded it is only for reference, not for learning. It doesn't have it lacks the turning of pages, and proved that the memorizing, the registration, the comprehension will not be so good as that of the book reading. So my friends, then yes, definitely this will be digital reading will be helpful. See, what our students does, they take a photocopy and make a book. It has also been said the photocopies, reading a photocopy of a book and reading a print book, an aesthetic sense of the book, is also going to play a very important role in understanding